Hello, and this is the Snappy Snapping Turtle
From
from Among the Pond People by I think Clara Dillingham Pearson. Okay. So, there was but one snapping turtle in the pond. And he's been the only one who's wished for another snapping turtle. Because he was alone most of the time because he remembers that he was taken away from his brothers and sisters and then kept on land for a few days and then brought there in the pond and then it kind of became his home forever. But still, he misses his brothers and sisters. Now, by the looks of him, he looks like he was from the family. He looked like he was from the family of mud turtles. His shell was gray, and he had a scaly long tail. It was pointed, and a scaly pointed long tail, and ano ko ba? He also had like nails, strong web nails, I think. Something. But he could also
nails?
No. Or claws. I think claws. Anyways, he could also go into his shell whenever he liked. He could make his body parts go into his shell whenever he liked, like his feet or his head or his feet or his head or his tail. And his head was bigger than the mud turtle's head. Yeah. Now, when he first went there, he could have made a lot of friends, and he could have had neighbors who were fond of him. But no, he was too snappy. But when the water was just fine and he had a good sleep before and his stomach was very full, then he could be okay. He was not snappy and he was good-natured. And he could graciously talk to his neighbors. When things go nicely, and then you can be happy. But the ones who are even more pleasant are the ones who are that are still happy when it's wrong. What's pleasant is that like the ones who are still pleasant. What's pleasant is that the people who are still pleasant when something wrong is happening. Well, a mud turtle father was the first person to speak to Mr. Snapping Turtle. Snappy Turtle. But Snapping Turtle, when Mr. Father Mud Turtle spoke to him, because Mr. Father Mud Turtle said, "Oh, I'll hope you'll like it here." The newcomer said, because he didn't really like it there because he told the mud turtle father that he kept on bumping his head when he dove in the water. And then the mud turtle father said, "Oh, that's a shame. Hopefully you'll dive somewhere soft." Now, the snapping turtle said, I do sometimes and I also don't. Then he said, I don't want to go down slowly and then try it and then go back to dive again. Then Mr. Mud Turtle said, "Oh, I know how it feels when someone gets the diving feeling, but I know how it feels when someone gets the diving feeling, but I'll still hope you'll feel welcome. You'll get used to our waters." Then he swam away. Then Snappy Turtle said, "Ugh, I'll never get used to these waters. It's so hard to see because of the pain in the right side of my head. Or was it the left side?" He couldn't seem to think anymore. Couldn't seem to remember. Then he went to shallow water and then he stayed in his shell. I don't think I'll ever get used to these waters. And what poor company these neighbors are. The pond is horrid. This is a horrid place. I wish to get out of here. Yeah. Okay. So Mr. Mud Turtle went home. La 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 la. And he told his wife about Mr. Snappy Turtle. And then his wife said, "Oh, what an agreeable fellow. Oh, what an agreeable fellow." But of course, I guess he is a bachelor. But bachelors are often pretty strange. "I never was," said Mr. Mud Turtle. "Oh," said she. But she didn't say anything more because she was a wise wife. But of course, she knew that that he cared more about somebody else than himself because he married. And the people who think more about themselves in this world are usually the most unhappy. Now, the eels also tried to be friendly, but he was not too friendly to the eels. Whenever he dove to the bottom, the eels would say to him, "Oh, you must excuse us for calling you to kind of like be with us. Well, will you be with us right now? Will you visit?" But they didn't really ask him to visit that much because they didn't come out of the water that much in the morning. But then Mr. Snapping Turtle said, "I will not visit you, and that's why your eyes are so weak. That's why your eyes are so weak. You're always in the dark of the pond in the mud." And then he swam away. And then he told the clams what he had said. But they kept silent because the clams don't really say anything. But he said that the eels were just like the water adders. They both have no backbone. But Mr. Snapping Turtle was mistaken, because the eels have much more than him. You know, also, they wear their backbone inside of them, not outside of them. Because Mr. Turtle, he had his backbone outside of him for everyone to see.